What's up, YouTube? We'll check out these Tennessee arm polymer lowers. Kind of compare it to a Palmetto State aluminum Mil-spec. Kind of go over the pros and the cons. Really just tell you guys why I would not go with a polymer lower. This build was for, it was my first build. It was for a patrol rifle. So reliability is a big issue here. Also, bear with me. I'm holding the camera here, so it's kind of a little difficult to go over these things. But I'll show you this. I bought two when I bought them. Things are cheap. You can get them fairly cheap. Made in Tennessee, my hometown, so I was kind of excited about them until I got it, put it together, ran it, and mind you, it shoots. There's many videos out there with putting them through torture tests, running over them with cars, and firing them. Just so they work, but let's see what we can come up with. Hope y'all can see this one. This one's been laying for about a couple months, but if you can look from the mag well back to the buffer tube, that whole thing is pretty much it's crooked to the right. You see the walls on it sunk in. I'll tell you why that's a problem with these polymer lowers here in just a minute. They do reinforce the buffer tube area with the brass and the grip screw with brass. That's it. I'd like to see some steel inserts for the fire control group pins. I'd like to see it a little beefier here inside the fire control area where the safety selector goes, where if you can see that area where the detent comes up for the safety selector right there. If you can see, there's like an 1/8 of an inch of room in between the bottom there and the actual safety selector hole, and I'll tell you why that's a problem here in a minute. Just needs a little more material in there. Walls need to be strengthened up just a little bit to keep them from flaring in. Other than that, mag well's in good shape. It'll drop a mag, no problem. Empty mag, it'll load a mag pretty well. Does all that really well. Here's one that's complete. I'll show you the things I don't like about this, and here's your safety selector I was talking about earlier. You can tell how loose this thing is. It's very sloppy, it's so much room for error to happen there with this thing. You know, it really shouldn't move that much. It'll move up and down, in and out. It's just it's kind of sloppy for a rifle that you're going to expect to put your life on the line with. I mean, it's not a good deal. You know, you look at the Mil-spec aluminum, no movement, nice solid clicks. You know, drop the hammer down, very little movement, nice and solid. No problems there with the Mil-spec. And you can see this here, the space in between this thing. I mean, you know, that's not a big deal, but It's still a lot of space. You can see down in there, see the roll pin pretty well. It's nice and tight, you know. This looks good. The magazine drop, it works. It went in. I really had no problems with it. Well, okay. You got the rear takedown pin and the hammer and trigger pins are the only other problem I have with this thing. And the reason I say that is I had to put anti-rotation pins on this because regular pins wouldn't hold. I mentioned these walls sucked in here. The springs wouldn't sit down in there like they're supposed to, and they wouldn't hold the trigger and hammer in. About 5 rounds through it, and it walked. The whole trigger assembly walked out on me. So put some of those on there. That does fix the problem with that. Well, they were big deals. Bear with me, I'm holding this thing like I said. Rear takedown. Check this thing out, man. This is just like really sloppy. Push it all the way through. It's just I don't know if it's gonna fall out or if it's gonna I don't know. It's sloppy. There's not enough meat there. The front one's alright. It's nice. It's fairly tight. You're on a mil-spec. No movement. Push it in halfway. No movement. I mean, you can just see the difference in the walls back here. Let me drop this trigger so we can look down inside here. Get that. Everything's just nice and tight. Set up good. Not a lot of space in between the walls there and the pins. Space on both sides of this sucker. I mean, it's not well made. I'm gonna throw some pictures in here and show you. A friend of mine sent me, and you'll see on it right around in here behind right by here. It's where it's put about 300 or 400 rounds through it, and it just busted, man. It cracked. And I'll throw those in here, show y'all. But there you have it. A Tennessee Arms versus a mil-spec. Tell me what y'all think.